And thank you for staying with us. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth 98.1, Smooth Breakfast with Valentine.
And Ayo Myra say good morning, Lagos.
It is time for Freshly Pressed 981, a segment of Smooth Breakfast that brings you detailed analysis of the newspaper stories. Joining us to do analysis or to analyze these stories, we have Cheta Wanze. Good morning, Cheta.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I did try.
Okay. Fumi Odude, good morning.
Good
Good to
morning,
see you.
Val.
Welcome. And Ugodre is live as well. Good morning, Ugo.
Hey, morning.
Thank you for staying back after Business Express.
Thank you.
You can find them all on Twitter. Cheta is CHXTA. Fumi is at Fumi Odude. Ugo is at Ugo Dre. And you can send messages through our different platforms.
Yes, on WhatsApp, it's 0809 444 That's 0809 444 On Twitter, please go on to Smooth981FM using the hashtag FreshlyPressed981. And then on YouTube, we're streaming live, so please check us out on there. We'll go straight to our first story for this morning, and Ugo, I'll come to you for the first one. It's on the 2020 budget. Yesterday, we spoke in detail about it. We talked about it having, gotten the first report from this. But today, we have the headline from the Punch newspaper that National Assembly, LCCI, that's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, experts knock federal government's 2020 budget. This is a more detailed response from different stakeholders who are, analyzing, talking about their, concerns around the budget. But please, can you share with us one thing I must highlight? There was a headline, I think, in another daily today about the fact that the president had cut the allocation to the social intervention programs by about 94%. But please take us to these criticisms of the project.
Yeah. So as expected, a lot of people have rummaged through the budget and basically analyzed and seen what I would say some of the flaws with the budget are, and so of course the National Assembly looked at it yesterday. And one comment that kind of interests me before I delve into the numbers that people are actually critiquing was a comment that the Senate Minority Leader said, and that is Abaribe. He says in every budget speech, what we normally see is that they will give it a name. Last year it was budget of consolidation.
Yeah.
So this year I was waiting to see what was going to be the nitty-gritty of the budget, and I saw that there was many things that was jumbled together. They called it budget of fiscal consolidation, investing in critical infrastructure, incentive, blah 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 blah. And they said, I want to suggest, and he says, quoting Shakespeare, this is a pen full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And then he goes on and says he's now called it a budget of taxation. What do you think?
He's wrong.
He's wrong. So,
Budget of award-winning fiction.
okay. So, what are the issues with this budget? Issues are, so the government is saying it's budgeting 8 trillion in revenue. 8 trillion. It's never even met the last budget, 2019 budget. It didn't even do up to 50% of its target revenue. So, where are you going to get 8 trillion from? Where are you going to get 8 trillion from?
From you.
Who? From who? Even if you tax me, even if you double the taxes, where are you going to get 8 trillion from? And then you're now saying you're doing, oil production, 2.3, million barrels per day.
They say 2.01.
OPEC just cut your production to 1.7. In fact, they even just increased it. Yeah, and it's looking like you're going to continue to have that supply glut next year. So there's always going to be free. So how are you going to do 2.01, which you hardly do anyway?
But is it fair? Because I asked the same question. I asked Femi, who was on Business Express yesterday, the same question. Is it fair to compare these 2019 budgets, 2020 budgets to other years, based on the fact that we haven't had a budget cycle that's really started from January? I mean, we know that 2018 budget
cycles are still 1 year.
2019 budget cycle started from June.
Yes.
This
And
next
finished
one,
in June.
Yes, it's still 1 year.
No. But based on the
Forget about the calendar year.
Based on the 5 month review is what I'm saying. So I mean, is it
No.
fair to-
Let us look at 2018 budget.
Even 2017, 16, 15, 14.
We have not met. I mean, the other day I sat here and read the revenue targets. We have performed woefully in terms of meeting revenue, or non-oil revenue even worse. And this has been going on since 2011 at least. because that's when people really started looking at the budget. Before then, the figures were just everywhere. Now, if it has happened year on year on year on year, picking where they born 2011, don't they already enter secondary school?
True.
And you've not bothered to change the whole budget processing,
Yes, proceed.
the process of how to do the budget, and then you keep. So you last year you said budget was 9.2 trillion. You barely made 3 trillion. You still have this fuel subsidy thing that would up 1 trillion of the revenues that you make, and then you will still come and tell us 10 trillion. Where is that money going to?
That's why a lot of
Alright,
analysts are calling it optimistic.
Yes, a number of,
They are being polite by calling it optimistic. It is fiction. End of story.
Okay, so a number of people, most of the criticism from this report talks about it based on what you both have mentioned with regards to where is the money coming from.
Yeah.
It's a bit overachieving. It's not realistic. It's a number of people have said, and some of the benchmark that has been used is said not to be realistic at all.
The sad part as well is you have here capital expenditure 2.1 trillion or thereabout, and you're basically also spending 2.4 trillion on debt servicing. So people are saying, and then you've never actually met 100% capital expenditure anyway, even since 2012.
Ever.
So
So
never
we're not
ever.
excited about
Yes,
this.
yes. So
All right, we'll continue this conversation. Cheta, don't give me that look. Well, let's move on to our next story here. And Cheta, I'll come to you for this one. World Bank, IMF, others publishing inaccurate data about Nigeria. Buhari has spoken. You're the data man. Premium Times has this report talking about the fact that the president said Nigerians should be wary of statistics from world bodies as they're not accurate. Please take us through the story.
Now, let me tell a story. On January 8th this year, a team of journalists from Arise TV, NTA, This Day interviewed Buhari. And during the course of the interview, Ijoma Nwugu of This Day asked him a question which regards Nigeria's new status as the poverty capital of the world. She juxtaposed that question with rising food insecurity and rising smuggling. And Buhari's response was, you work with figures, I work with facts. And I'm telling you that rice importation is down. Many people are leaving their white-collar jobs to return to agriculture. It's on YouTube. You can go and watch it. I remember we shouted when he said that. You work with figures, I work with facts. This same Buhari, on August 28th this year, closed the border. And on 13 September, he justified the border closure because of importation through the border and rising smuggling. Facts, Abi. What happened to the people who were leaving their white-collar jobs to go and work in agriculture and to go and farm rice? Rice prices are going up because of the that they've put on the border. This is what happens when facts are tailored to suit what the president wants. It's also frightening that the presidency doesn't seem to know that the Nigerian data that the World Bank and the IMF use are collected by a little-known Nigerian agency called the National Bureau of Statistics. They don't sit in Washington or Bretton Woods or wherever they are certain and manufacture data. They collaborate with local partners on the ground, and the Statistics Act 2007 empowers the NBS to be the only body that can collect data nationally. These guys work with Nigerians here. The official NBS is funded through the CBN, Abi. So it is all of your bodies that are funding this data that you're now saying is inaccurate. The implication of this, and this is what really scares me. From my viewpoint, the implication of this is that the NBS is going to come under incredible political pressure to create facts to suit the president's fantasies. We're entering the twilight zone.
Fantasies and narratives.
I actually doubt that's ever going to happen because this is not the first time that they've come out data from the NBS, and Kale has always stood his ground, try to be very neutral. He's going to keep. I don't think that they're going to. They will at any point in time try to infiltrate to the NBS. What you can keep on doing is trying to discredit the facts. If the numbers don't suit your narrative. But then the NBS is always going to be independent, and that's what's going to be.
Thank you very much for that assurance. Thank you. He's an economist, by the way, so he knows what he's talking about. Thank you.
Facts.
Roadside, whether it's fact or figures.
Roadside economist. Well, he is the CEO founder of Nairametrics, so you trust your judgment. Vanguard newspaper has the next one for me. Malaria, diarrhea, typhoid fever hit Benue IDP camps. 11,254 IDPs affected. I mean, we've talked about the state of the IDP camps in Nigeria. We've looked at, a number of times it comes up in the news, and I don't know if anything is done about it once reports like this come out. But can you please take us through this report, this new update from the Vanguard?
Okay, so one of the reasons why nothing is done about it, the story quotes medical personnel from the Benue State Health Management Board, and the major thing is that they are overstretched by their own admittance. So that's the story will keep coming up, but if there's really nothing they can do, what's the according to the story, according to the medical personnel on ground, it's raining season, and because it's raining season, the incidence of malaria is high. And then the story says, well, the condition and the situation in the camps, which just goes to show you what you said earlier. We already know the bad state that the IDP camps are in, and so it should not be surprising that they will fall susceptible to what should ordinarily be preventable. I think the highlight of the story is the fact that both the state government particularly is saying that they are overwhelmed and that the burden is too much for the state government. And so we go back to the chairman, the federal government, like we usually do. And to say that the IDPs are almost sort of forgotten right now is a fact.
Yes, you're not.
Yes, because last month, the international bodies who were supporting or giving aid to those IDPs indicated that they were going to start withdrawing their materials from this month.
Yes, and then it seems to also be that we have forgotten the conversation of resettling them. Sending them back home, giving them new lives. We've sort of put a pause. Yes,
it's so meant to be a permanent arrangement.
We've sort of put a pause on that for now, and then you can't apart from funding, we also have to talk about security.
Yes.
Going back home is as much a security challenge right now as it ever has been. So if a lot of the areas are still insecure, still have terrorist attacks,
But how about the stance of the president and security military operatives that
we have defeated?
Yeah, we've defeated Boko Haram. Places are secure, safe. If they're safe indeed, why is it difficult to then resettle these people who are in the camps?
Well,
those are facts. You're asking about
figures.
All right, let's move on. But it's very serious conversation with regards to resettlement. We cannot keep talking about what's going on in the IDP camp when it's meant to be a temporary measure to
we can't resettle until we conquer insecurity completely. They'll be going back to the exact same running away from.
All right.
Thank you.
Ian sent in a message on WhatsApp. Ian says, Vico, this rain surf is becoming a factor. Rain should do and come and be going so our government can fix our roads. And malaria can also leave the IDP camps.
Now we're doing rain.
If I recall, this from Iba says, good morning, gentlemen of the press. I'm not in any way enamored with the 2020 budget estimates because the fundamentals are literally flawed. The expenditure allocations are also just inappropriate. St. Fadra says, good morning, guys. The budget is high and has been expended. The way it has been expended hasn't affected me as a Nigerian. Our senators lived a large life and they're pushing the youth for a revolution. Trust me, soon the politicians won't have Nigeria as usual as a safe haven. Dami says, on the data issue, while we, or at least I, can vouch for Yemi Kale's independence and integrity, what happens when another pharaoh comes up that does not know how to resist pressure?
Till then.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next story, Ugo. Federal government demands $62 billion PSC arrears from oil majors. So the federal government is making moves to recover as much as that amount, that's $62 billion from international oil companies. They said it's a backlog of its share of income from production sharing contracts, PSC. Now, the PSC has come up in the news in recent times, a few months back, we talked about the fact, I don't know if who was here when we talked about it the first time here, that it hadn't been reviewed for many years, and we lost a lot of money from that. Now we're looking to hopefully recover some of that amount, up to $62 billion, and the federal government is leading this. What do you have to say about this, Ugo?
Mario, the thing is, anytime I see Malami in any of these stories, I fear, right? I just worry because as much as the Attorney General, if there's anybody who is aggressively trying to mobilize cash for the
Yeah.
government, apart from what's the FIRS boss again? Was that his name?
Fowler.
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 It's probably Malami.
No,
So-
Hamid Ali.
Okay, maybe. But
Okay, so a number
Malami.
of people are
Yeah. So
mobilizing
yeah.
cash.
So anyway, but what's the story about? The story basically is, sometime in 1993, there was a law that was passed. According to it was actually a Bloomberg story. I read it there last night, and it was saying there was a law that was passed, and the law basically says when oil prices, go up over $20, then Nigeria's share of the crude oil proceeds should actually increase, and it appears, according to the story, the law hasn't been adhered to, and of course, we all know crude oil prices have been above $20 for years. There was a time it was even above $100. I think sometime in 2014 or so. So, and this is a government that is looking for money. They've already budgeted 8 trillion. So, they're looking for every angle to get the 8 trillion. Remember, this is a budget of taxation. So, and somebody has remembered that, wait, there's this case that's still, on the table. So, this is probably, someone in government shaking up oil industry and telling them, look, pay me my money, pay up. So Bloomberg says the estimate is about $62 billion. I don't know where these guys are going to get that money from, but be rest assured that if government pushes this through, there's going to be a deal somewhere. And like someone said, this is probably, another MTN model. So, get them to the negotiation table and then see what you can squeeze out of them and then add that revenue to 2020 budget.
For the record,
Interesting times.
$62 billion is 22 trillion naira.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
like
can fund our budget.
It can fund the
that's
budget
about
for the next
20%
3 years.
of our GDP. That's incredible. That's
We
an
can even
incredible sum.
increase the money.
Incredible sum.
Did I
It
hear
can
somebody?
fund the budget for the next 3 years.
For 3
Somebody
years. Thank
whistle?
you very much.
And there's commission in these things too.
Ah,
Let me go and drink over.
I don't know. I just heard PNID in my head. But let's go to this next story from this day newspaper. Inspector General of Police said terrorism, kidnappings are overstretching our logistics, in his words, and manpower as well is covered in that. The Inspector General of Police made this known yesterday. While he was addressing a group of people, he says in order to curb the security challenges in the country, that he introduced the community policing model, which he said involved the management or engagement of citizens in identifying and prioritizing prevalent communal security threats as they are affected in their localities. Cheta, get through the story, especially seeing that they're subtly introducing the idea of community policing in different parts. How does this work?
I mean, it's the community policing, whatever you want to call it, is the only logical way to go.
Yep.
The truth is that I feel for Inspector General Adamo in many respects. He's one government official that I think his heart is in the right place. Quite unfortunately, he had he inherited I can't use the expression on morning radio, something. So he has a lot in order to overcome it. What I would recommend, and he has actually engaged with civil society groups, this one I know, on the police reform bill that was introduced by Senator Gani Naba, Nala, sorry. The problem is that it wasn't passed in the 8th Senate, so they'll probably start all over again in this Senate. And last I checked, they haven't started. Now, here's the fundamental problem. The Nigerian police has a staff strength of 371,000 men. That's 538 citizens per policeman if you assume that our population of 200 million estimate is correct. And according to Rashid Akintunde, who is the AIG of Zone 5 of the police, 80% of that number have been deployed for VIP duty. Because it's one of the few ways that they can really raise funds. 80%. What 80% of that means is that effectively the strength of the police in terms of fighting crime is 74,360.
To one policeman
74,360 policemen for fighting crime
in the entire country.
in
As
the
for
entire
200 million.
in the entire. Now, when you look at that, it means that
SARS is inside that number too.
SARS is not police. SARS is not So
What you
what
mean is-
effectively means is that you have 2,690 citizens per policeman. Bear in mind that the recommended UN ratio is 400 citizens per policeman. So even at nominal strength, we don't meet that. Then talk less of by the time you deploy those that are doing VIP duty. So we have a problem. And one of the things, so there are many things that are inside this problem, but one of the things is that it's a revenue problem, because how do you even pay those if you say you want to expand and hire people? Look at the conditions under which they are trained. See, SARS and whatever are really bad, but it's when you look at the conditions under which they live in police barracks, under which their families live and all of that, you begin to understand the animalistic side of it. This is not to justify it. It's garbage in, garbage out.
Because there are 7 times. But what do you think would be the possible measures? Would this community policing give a necessary result to at least go halfway through the solution?
If I want to, we'll finish freshly pressed now. But we have we have a model problem to start with, and this affects not just the police but the entire security service. Since colonial times, the model of Nigerian policing has been a sort of police outside your area. So and it's actually started in 1929. So prior to 1929, what you had was the Lagos Constabulary, that was the police for Lagos. You had the Niger Delta Constabulary, which was the police that covered what is now the southeast and the south-south. You had the Constabulary, which covered what is now the southwest, and then you had the Northern Constabulary. But after the Aba women's riots of 29, when the colonial authorities ordered the Niger Delta Constabulary to shoot the protesters, and they refused because they were their women, and they had to bring police from the Lagos Constabulary to put down the riots, the colonial authorities made the decision that Nigerian policemen will start policing areas outside their area of origin. Because they don't understand, they're not from there. It's easier for them to put down the people brutally. And even after independence, we continued pursuing that model. So as an example, for a very long time, the DPO at Nteje police station in Anambra State was a Yoruba man who didn't speak Igbo. How will the community trust him? So we need to change that model. It's one of the things, which is where community policing comes in. But we need funding. Ego.
Thank you. Cheta, you made it very clear, because a lot of people had the misconception that, so nothing DPO to maybe the riverine areas because they wanted to remove maybe familiarity or some kind of meddling. But
Damian Chukwu, for example, police commissioner of Borno State for God knows how long now.
All right, let's take some comments. Vincent on WhatsApp said the police are not money enough and they are busy out there looking for where to make extra money. A good number of them are private hands, so they cannot function effectively. And then Chima says, sincerely, policemen in Lagos are taking extra jobs to meet up the basic needs. I pity them and wish they can get better take home.
Which is why we're saying, hoping that lady will get more than a plaque.
Yes,
that was encouraged yesterday.
Ms. Kalu, yes, Celestina Kalu. Inku says, good morning. Can your analysts share their thoughts on the impact of the newly formed AC on the 2020 budget? Were they invited to have an input in the drafting on the document? What are Charles Soludo and Bismarck Ruani saying? I take this comment because we're going to talk about the fact that they've been inaugurated very shortly.
That's the Economic Advisory Council.
Yes, Council.
All right, let's go to the comments on the floor of the Senate. The Senate is actually mulling the 5-year jail term that they proposed earlier in 2016. The 8th Senate then in October of 2016 had sought a 5-year jail term and 5 million naira fine for lecturers that are convicted for sexually harassing male and female students. Take us through the contents of this bill and how it's hoped to work, Fumi.
Okay, so the 8th National Assembly had passed a bill for sexual harassment for tertiary institutions, but it wasn't assented to. So following the documentary that has riled everybody up, the Senate has mentioned that it will revisit the bill. And the bill as it stands currently seeks a 5-year jail term and 5 million naira lecturers convicted of sexually harassing male or female students. The details of the bill are not in the story, but one major thing would be the definition of sexual harassment. Yes. So one of the criminal laws that we currently have that I believe deals very justifiably with rape and sexual harassment is the Criminal Law of Lagos State, 2015, and that law punishes rape with life imprisonment. But more importantly, at the definition, you know how we the definitions and the elements of an offense is really
Yes.
what truly matters. More importantly is the fact that the law defines rape as unlawful sexual intercourse with a woman or girl without her consent. And the definition of without her consent includes where she submits to the act by reason of force, impersonation, threat, intimidation of any kind, or fear of harm. So, for instance, I personally believe that a lot of these lecturers could, by these definitions, be actually convicted of charged with rape. Now, the law goes ahead to punish an attempt with 14 years and punishes sexual harassment with 3 years. And sexual harassment, so that Lagos knows, for all of you people that do this in the office and all, sexual harassments include sexually touching a woman with any part of your body, sending visuals and images, and just making the environment uncomfortable for her, including with your words. So Lagos, take note. A lot of you have been practicing sexual harassment under the guise of "I'm just joking with you," but it's a very serious bill. It's something that they should pursue, and I wish they would use the criminal law of Lagos State as a model.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
me. Moving on to the class paper, Ugo, I'd like to ask you, based on this headline, Buhari inaugurates economic team, urges reliable data. We understand that it's speaking to what Ayo alluded to earlier, the new Economic Advisory Council that was constituted. What are your thoughts on this story, please?
Yeah, so I'm just going to focus on two parts because I think Cheta pretty much touched on the
Facts,
first
not
one.
figures.
Oh,
Back to
you,
that.
you focused on figures. I'm going to focus on facts. Two facts. And the first one is something that he mentioned, which I guess didn't really make the news, and I think was the most important thing he said when setting up the theme. And he said that we must domesticate our policies to reflect our local realities. While we very much welcome the cooperation and support we're getting from our friends abroad, it is important to make it clear that Nigeria can truly move forward with homegrown solutions. I kind of agree that we need homegrown solutions, right? Because a lot of the ideas and policies out there may not work in Nigeria because of the way that we are. Nevertheless, but we have to be careful. We also don't want you basically forcing the hand of the Economic Advisory Council to come up with homegrown policies that suit your narrative, because you've seen that the government has its own idea, its own brand of homegrown policies. For example, they believe in having multiple exchange rates. They believe in trying to close borders. They believe in trying to force you to go into agriculture and things like that. So you might want to call it their own brand of homegrown policies, but you have to allow the economic team come up with policies that, of course, they're homegrown but actually make economic sense, because at the end of the day, economics is it's social science, so people to an extent would need to understand your theory and be sure that it makes sense. So that's one area I want to focus on. And then the second part of the story was they also mentioned that Buhari was visited by ex-ministers ministers that served with him in 1983 and 1984. And then he also mentioned there that he would carry everyone along on his last lap. So, I don't know what. And so is it that these guys have? So when you're an ex-minister in Nigeria, do they have like a alumni association? They all meet up every time. That they all had to gather themselves together. They had the time to call each other. Okay, when are we going? Book day time.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they mentioned they had over 26 WhatsApp groups on their phone. President Buhari, this is the second time he's coming in, actually, for this administration, the second time, but he's been president, head of state before, or rather, military head of state before. But he said at the beginning of this tenure that he's going to be working with people he's familiar with. Talking about familiarity, just
30 years ago.
Our next story talks about something similar to that. Some people are crying foul, crying in nepotism, but the governor of Delta State, Okowa, said he has no apology for appointing his qualified daughter as an aide. Cheta?
See, if Nigeria were a normal country, that's not a problem. But Nigeria is not a normal country. There's a reason why we have federal character and all of that stuff. So, in areas of absolute meritocracy, for example, Super Eagles, I don't mind if not the same mama born the 11. You understand? But for something like this, now, as per the National Bureau of Statistics, Delta State has unemployment rate of 25.4%. Now, if you juxtapose it with Delta's estimated population of 5.7 million people, look at the fact that people within the ages of 15 and 64, which is the working age, which Mr. Kowa's daughter falls into, is 58% of the population. There's an implied, there's this implication that Delta State has about 1.5 million unemployed people. So you mean that out of all the 1.5 million, you couldn't find one that is not your relation that can be an aid?
Stop being
As
jealous.
in aid.
Must you complain?
Is it your,
Is it your daughter?
Is it your daddy?
Sincerely though, legally.
No, aid.
Cheta, legally, is there any legal restriction to
That stops him.
hiring a relative as an aid? Is it against the law?
Fumi, tell it, no.
Sentiments apart,
Yes.
this is, I believe, part of an act of nepotism. It is what it is. There are certain things that just to show that you're above board. If there are some positions you hold that family members, close friends, because of their relationship with you, you don't put in certain positions.
Ethics, that's the word I was looking for.
All right.
Finally.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
so ethics of the job.
Ethics of the job just says that we need to shut down now. Freshly Pressed 91 has been fun with you all. Cheta is at CHXTA. Chicksta is how we pronounce it here. On Twitter, check him out. I'll continue the conversation with Fumi at Fumi Odide and Ugodre at Ugodre on Twitter. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a very interesting conversation. We'll extend this on social media. Let's keep having it with that hashtag Freshly Pressed 91. Next is entertainment inside of the grapevine. Stay with us.
You guys are just jealous. Trump's daughter, son.